I'm Paul Edwards. I'm a self-published horror author, and first and foremost, a monster kid. And today I'm reading Mad Monsters Magazine, issue number 6 from 1963. And I thought you might enjoy looking through this magazine with me page by page, just in case you don't own your own copy of Mad Monsters Magazine, issue number 6 from 1963. And together we can see what kind of vintage monster goodness is in here. Already we can tell this is going to be a good issue because the cover story is on our man, Boris Karloff, man of a million horrors. Well, Lon Chaney Sr. was called the man of 1,000 faces, so they're sort of riffing on that. We also get an article on the new Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Anthony Quinn one, and a piece on the Day of the Triffids. Not enough plant monsters in the movies. It's good to see them. Okay, so here we go. All right, we're opening with a promotional picture of Boris Karloff from Frankenstein 1970. The movie Frankenstein 1970 was not from 1970. It was from 1957 or 58. But it was set in the near future. It's not the greatest Frankenstein film. Karloff is in it, but he's playing Dr. Frankenstein, not the monster. All right, contents. All right, we're going to get the Day of the Triffids. We're going to get the Boris Karloff story, Monster on Campus, the Black Zoo, Horrorwood. This is a stolen Forrest J. Ackerman pun. He's the one that always said Horrorwood, and this wasn't one of his magazines. And, of course, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Okay. So we're starting off with a bang. Nice. Monstrous man-killing plants. I wonder if they know the man-eater of Hydra. There was a meteor shower that everybody wanted to see. And when they looked at it, it blinded them. So most of the population was blinded, which put them at a disadvantage when the meteor sprouted plant monsters. I like the fact they're doing the picture spreads a little differently here with these long images. It'd be nice if we saw more of the monsters, though. All right, now we're getting somewhere. There seems to be a lot of blank space in here. I'm not sure who edited the magazine together. They could have fit more pictures in here if they spaced them out a bit better. There's only a couple of really good monster shots in here. All right, now we're on to letters to the Mad Monster editor. Kids could write in, putting in their own monster makeup or costume pictures, and hopefully get them published. Okay. A gag they used a lot in these magazines is to show a picture from a horror movie and then put a joke caption. Who's the guy who gave me that trick cigar? Oh, brother. Oh, this is from Godzilla Raids Again, released in America as Gigantus the Fire Monster. What? You forgot the surfboards? All right, this is a little funny. And our group had 27% fewer cavities. Okay, that's all right. I just know that was the wrong exit off the throughway. Yeah, I don't know about that. All right, now we're getting to the main event. The Boris Karloff story, Man of a Million Horrors. So this magazine was 1963. Do you know what Boris Karloff movies came out in 1963? I know The Terror, co-starring Jack Nicholson, was one of them. Karloff as Rasputin the Mad Monk. Body Snatcher is a Burke and Hare movie. That was so in the olden times, there was trouble coming up with human cadavers for medical students to dissect and examine. So body snatchers would dig up graves and take the cadavers and bring them to the medical colleges. And there was an infamous case where these two guys, Burke and Hare, actually produced corpses an even more difficult way by generating corpses. And they wound up being, I think they were both hanged, if I remember right. Or was it that one of them was hanged and the other was killed by the mob? I think that might have been it. But it didn't end well for either of them. But anyway, Karloff was in the movie based on that. The Boogeyman Will Get You is sometimes overlooked. This is a horror comedy film and is definitely worth checking out if you've never seen it. Isle of the Dead. This is from the TV show Thriller. So Boris Karloff got a gig hosting a TV show called Thriller, which was kind of like a Twilight Zone, an anthology show, except there were no funny or cute stories. They were all scary stories. And he would do the narrations at the beginning and end. Of course, Boris Karloff's most famous role was as the Frankenstein monster. Sometimes people say that it was his first role. It wasn't. Boris Karloff already was a movie actor, an established movie actor, before he did Frankenstein. But Frankenstein was the movie that propelled him to stardom in 1931. Oh, wow. Okay. Here's a whole rogues gallery of Karloff's different characters. How many of them do you recognize, and from what movies? I know most of them. Can't say I got them all, but I know most of them. Well, this is all one thing. So they give us the answers. The Raven. This is the before and after his surgery in The Raven. Fu Manchu. This is from The Devil Commands and The Haunted Strangler. Of course, we have Frankenstein, The Mummy from 1932, and The Black Cat from 1934, where he was a satanic cult leader. We've got, The Old Dark House. And then, this is Mr. Wong. Does anyone know what this one is? It says here, Mad Scientist. That doesn't really tell us a lot. Which mad scientist? Karloff played more than one mad scientist. If you know, tell us in the comments. This was in the 50s. Boris Karloff played Dr. Jekyll in Abbott and Costello Meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And this is documenting the transformation into Mr. Hyde. Although, truth be told, when Mr. Hyde was running around on screen in that movie, it was a stuntman. It wasn't Karloff. A spine-chilling adventure into unknown horror beyond the ken of science or man. Wow. So Monster on the Campus is sort of a scientific version of a werewolf story. This college professor contaminates himself with a prehistoric sample that he's examining in the lab, and starts to transform into a caveman. And then he changes back and doesn't realize what's happened. So with that sort of setup, it's basically like a typical werewolf story, except that it's not supernatural. Nope, you just can't get enough of Karloff S. Frankenstein. That's good. I'm not too sure that they put this here, that putting this here was the best idea. I think that this picture would have worked better back in the Karloff spread, don't you think? But then I guess they couldn't have done this as a 2-page, I don't know. This just seems out of place here, because this, neither that article nor this is about Karloff. But okay. Black Zoo Party. The Black Zoo is a lesser-known horror movie which was current at the time that this came out, which is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. The crazed zookeeper of sorts keeps the dangerous predatory animals in his house, and they kill when he wants them to. But this is a party for the movie. So this is, look at this kid. I love it. Satiated by a luncheon of small children. Oh, that's just mean. Horrorwood Terror Vision. So, of course, all of these monster magazines were imitators of famous monsters of Filmland magazine. And Forrest J. Ackerman would use these awful puns all the time in Famous Monsters of Filmland. He often said that he lived in Horrorwood, California. So, Terror Vision, all right. So let's see what we're going to get here. All right. Well, The Bat is a remake starring Vincent Price it's a remake of The Bat Whispers, which was a very early talking horror film. The Hypnotic Eye. Wow. That's pretty creepy. Queen of Outer Space, starring Zsa Zsa Gabor. Yes, really. This is a story of an alien monarch who is supposed to be transported back to Earth on this spaceship, but as the ship is in flight through interstellar space, she starts eating the astronauts one by one. The Giant Behemoth. I was really big into the giant monsters when I was a boy. I would have loved this one more than any of the others. The Giant Behemoth. Nice. Ghoul Giggles. Should we read them? You know they're going to be terrible. All right, let's see. Martha, get that laundry on the phone. Darling, have you seen the bathroom scales? Oh, brother. This is the girl. This is a little funny. The girl says, "Of course it's a flower, you stupid monster, you." And then from Son of Frankenstein, "All he needs is a new picture tube and you'll get every channel." All right, that's a little funny. That's a little funny. Come on. So this was the most recent Hunchback of Notre Dame. Of course, Lon Chaney Sr. had been in one in 1920, and Charles Laughton was in one in 1939, I believe, 38 or 39. So this was the Anthony Quinn one, though. You know, it's kind of sad because, okay, hideous, deformed, twisted in mind and body, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Well, wasn't it sort of part of the story of the Hunchback of Notre Dame that he was just as human as everyone else, even though he looked different? So it's kind of sad that they're putting him as a monster in the monster magazine. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much. Yeah, that's a good shot. The bells. Oh, Quasimodo. Oh, you get a good picture spread on this one. This is one of these films that anytime you remake it, you already know you're in for stiff competition because everyone's going to be comparing it to the versions that have come before. Sort of like Dracula. All right. Well, now we're getting to the ads. Every kid's favorite parts of these. We're going to start out with the Hollywood makeup artist showing you how to do monster makeup in a step-by-step film. And you order this actual reel of film that you would show on a home movie projector, and the makeup artist will show you how to make these different masks or creations. Or you can just send away and get a Frankenstein monster mask. Or Snaky Sam. A spook hand. Or if you want to be able to tell your parents that these magazines are not rotting your brain, you can order actual novels. The Running Man. Space Egg. Free bonus. The Red Planet. Horrible Bloody Hand. Mr. Nobody. Deluxe over-the-top masks. Disguise kit. Okay. Now you can hear these terror tales on vinyl albums. Perfect for eerie midnight ghoul parties. Wow. A complete collection of the macabre. Ooh, monster models. These were big sellers. You get Dracula, the Wolfman, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Frankenstein monster, and the Mummy. Nice. Or for only $1, you can get 10 rubber bugs. Wow. But for 50 cents, you can get 10 monster fingernails. I think you should save up and blow the whole $1 on the 10 rubber bugs. That looks like a better purchase. 2-in-1 face masks. Jekyll and Hyde, Angel and Devil, or Wolf and Man. Wow. Disappearing Ink, Bloody Mess. Nice. I bet that's a tube of fake blood. Horror Teeth. Okay. Ooh, a monster record player. Complete with record. Wow. And what are the tracks? She Monsters, He Monsters, Monsters from the Deep, Sounds from Outer Space, Assorted Monster Sounds, Screams, and Death Rattle. Wow. How could you pass that up? Oh, back to more rubber masks and creepy crawlies. There's Old Hag number 1 or Old Hag number 2. You can choose. Why not get them both? All right, in the day when your ability to get pictures of your favorite monsters was limited because there was no internet, you may well have sent away for a giant 8x10 glossy photo. In fact, you get 6 of them here, only $1 for all 6. That's pretty good. I like the shot of the Frankenstein monster. I used that as a thumbnail on an early video of mine. Yeah. Kooky captions. 4 pads with 20 different zany pictures in each pad. You write the captions. Oh. Okay. Oh. There's another set of these pictures, but this one is just the werewolf package. 6 snarling werewolves, only $1. Well, I know the Werewolf of London. I know the Wolfman. Those are both the Wolfman. And I know Curse of the Werewolf. That's Oliver Reed. This was only about 2 years old when this magazine came out. I'm blanking on this. This looks familiar, but I can't place it. I'm sure I'll probably realize when I'm done making the video and say, oh yeah, of course. But this, I have no idea. None. And we've reached the end. The page count was not high for this issue. You get back copies of Mad Monsters or Horror Monsters. I'm not sure what the difference is. Oh, and you can get a piece on a separate piece just on the Black Zoo. All right. Listen, thanks for spending some time with me looking through this great old vintage monster magazine. If you like classic monsters and vintage horror, you would love my book series, the Mourner's Woods books. They're available on Amazon. They're available in ebook, paperback, audiobook. There's 6 of them in print right now. Different monsters in different books. I try very hard to catch the same vibe, the same feel of vintage monster horror, but set in contemporary time. And you really should check them out. That's all for now. Thanks for looking through this magazine with me. I'll see you in Mourner's Woods.